Hi, welcome to Ravenous Tales or Ravenous Tales. Both work. We are so excited to be back. Thank you all so much for showing up, for loving on us as much as we love doing this. This has been a journey and one that I'm so excited to be on because look at the people that we have here at this table. Okay? Look at everybody. Look at the art. Y'all will notice this week we have character blocks, and you can thank Sin for that because Sin is an absolute amazing artist. So please, if you need any character art or anything for your next TTRPG, consider hiring an Indigenous disabled, queer as fuck, lovely individual by the name of Sin. Do it. You won't regret it. That being said, hi, I'm Raven, pronouns they, she, any. I live here now. This is my home. I live where I work and I work where I live, and I don't know how I feel about it, but that's just what it is. You can catch me here on Tuesdays, playing Dr. Azjah, a tiefling plague doctor, cleric who is a little bit obsessed with death. Maybe I'm typecasting, that's fine. On Wednesdays, you can find me playing Chrysanthemum, a Draxi Sprite Oracle in a Pathfinder 2E D&D 5e campaign over on Captain Robert. And outside of that, just find me on the internet saying things and sometimes being really awesome. That's all. Next up is Jay.
Hello, I'm Jay. I'm your invading dungeon master. For tonight, I exist mainly on the internet under the name Swole Initiative, so that's where you can find me. I also stream on the Swole Initiative Network. We run campaigns, mainstay campaign on a Friday, and we do some fun streams on a Monday, and then Wednesdays will be other random assorted games and things. So check us out. Pronouns are he, him, and I think that's me.
Oh, I think I'm next. I'm next up in line. Hey, y'all, my name is Danny. My pronouns are he, him. You can find me all over the internet at Brutal Dan. That's BR00TALDAN. Mostly on the failing platform, Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram, all that good stuff. I guess this is actually I'm going to be announcing here first. I'm also starting my first Substack called Digitally Thick. And it's going to be a Substack about marketing and community management and the tabletop and gaming scene in general. So be on the lookout for that. And I'll pass that ball over to Joy.
Hello, everyone. Sorry, I have to look and see what I'm supposed to say. Hi, I am Joy or Sensitive Joy on the internet, except on Twitter. I am It's Sensitive Joy because some not so sweet baby angel took the name before I could get there. So, Sensitive Joy. My pronouns are she, her, or any. I don't really care. You can't get it wrong. I stream here on Twitch. I also do a lot of Magic the Gathering stuff. I'm not really in any other actual plays right now. However, I will be in a fun upcoming thing on Monday, which has not been announced, but you should keep your eyes open. And I will tell you, I'm playing a sexy muscle mommy pirate named Lamb Chop. So yeah, you probably don't want to miss that. So
big facts.
Keep your eyes on the Ravenous Tales Twitter. All right, that's me.
I'm next. The barking you hear is me. The barking you hear is me. Don't be alarmed. It's me. I'm barking. Hi, my name is Austin. My pronouns are he, they, she. You can find me in the shadows in the corner of your eye when you're sleeping, underneath your bed at night, or beneath your floorboards, or on the internet, Sailors can also. It's that Sailor SCT Austin. I'm an award-winning game writer, designer, performer, and friend. That's really it. Look for me in the shadows. Diction?
Hi, I'm Diction, he, him. I'm playing Ches, the half-elf fighter. I'm a variety streamer here on Twitch. I play pretty much anything, or I just browse Reddit/stupid foods and see if, we talk about whether we eat the meals or not. Yeah, that's about it.
Perfect. Y'all are just, I love you. I need you to understand. My heart is so happy. That being said, Jay, our fearless dungeon master.
Yep.
Take it away.
Okay, so picking up from the last chaotic episode. We met all of our, I want to say heroes, but I'm not quite sure. They all managed to come together in various different ways over a fallen potential suitor of Olga's, who suddenly became sick, and then was found to have some kind of fungus growing inside and outside of them, bringing them over to Dr. Azjah's, along with Ches to help with carrying the load. They met Azjah and her childhood friend, potentially, Trix, who was there, looking into what was wrong with their platypus. Interrupting that, the rest of the party arrived with Sylvester in tow, although starting to become wrapped in tendrils of fungus. They took him to the examination table of Dr. Azjah's, where she looked over him a little bit, and after thinking that she'd done what she could, he was found to have transformed into some kind of monstrous fungus entity, which seemed to be bereft of all that Sylvester was and attacked Azjah. Combat ensued, and eventually the Sylvester fungus was slain, where he dropped to the ground and began to decompose onto the floor, starting a slight debate between Azjah and Olga. And that is where we are picking up tonight. So, the rest of the day is yours. What would you like to do?
I think that after having this debate and coming to some kind of agreement, I scoff, and there's a disgusted look on my face as I just start to drag the body past the room in which would be considered the OR to the morgue. And I callously kind of place this body on a table to make sure that I am able to clean it so that Olga can say goodbyes. But before I do, I kind of just wrap it, placing a dark sheet over it and moving back out to the floor to continue to clean this fungal mess that has soiled my home, my place of work. But not without taking samples. As one doctor and brilliant mind as myself does, there's plenty to study here. And so I intend on doing just that. And then I look to Olga on my way out as I'm procuring different pieces of this Sylvester fungus. You will have to be patient, Olga. I know you are not a fan of waiting, but you must respect that I am excellent at my craft.
I have no intention of getting in your way, Doctor.
You can see there is a tongue finding its way between her teeth, behind closed lips as you say that, after having already gotten in my way multiple times this evening. But I just nod. And I gesture back out to the waiting area. Is there anything that I see in this mess that is an item that is of value or sentimental or something?
Give me an investigation check.
Okay. That's a 19.
Let's go.
19.
Yeah.
So you have picked up the sort of black remains now, like the decomposed remains, like what you could amass of him, brought him to the table. It looks like anything on his person that was on his person had also been kind of consumed by that fungus and kind of eaten from the inside out. However, with a 19, as you are looking through, you notice a pin, like a long, almost brooch pin with a sapphire pinhead, with a slightly ornate, like filigree frame to it. Yeah, you wouldn't have seen it before. But yes, that's the only thing that you managed to pick out, and you can only assume that the precious metals prevented it from being transformed.
Okay, so I am going to... I know what Raven would do. But I am not Raven. I think at that point, I kind of clean it off in some solution and sterilize it accordingly, so that way whatever is on it is no longer a threat. And then I will bring it out to Olga, and I will wave it in her face. Consider this payment for the next 3 orders. This was on your beloved's corpse. And she hands it over.
Olga, you would recognize this pin as being the one that Sylvester would wear in his ascot.
Olga gives like a very gentle nod, but you could see there's almost like a hesitance to it before she does it, as if she doesn't want to relent, but she knows in this case yielding is the only way to move forward. So she gives a little side smile and nods and reaches out her hand and takes it from Dr. Azjah. And she holds it in her hand and looks down at it for a moment and starts to turn it over in her hands, as if she's thinking, but also as if she won't let herself think too much. And Azjah passes it over to Deimos and just hands it to Deimos and turns her head down and walks out of the room.
Deimos takes it, puts it in her like back pocket or something. I think watches Olga leave to make sure Olga doesn't like leave the house. And after I do that, I'm actually gonna go over to Ches. Ches,
Guesses. I got stabbed last time, right? In the fight.
Yes.
I think it was a piercing. I think it was. I'm asking Jay. I
Yeah.
think it was a
Yes,
piercing.
yes.
Okay. So I've already. I was like half listening to their conversation while I took out like a needle and thread, and I'm sewing a hole in my shirt. Which is not. It's one of many sew jobs I've done that you can kind of see patched around. And I look up and like, sorry, what?
I'm a woman of my word. Thank you for your help. And I give Ches a gold piece.
Thanks. Throw it into one of my many pockets.
I'm not sure if you plan to stick around. You completed the job I asked you to do. I appreciate it. But whatever is going on, if you don't mind sticking around, we could probably use the help.
Sorry. Yeah. I mean, I got nothing better going on right now, honestly.
Thank you. Trix, was it?
Yeah. Hey.
Why are you here?
I'm here, honestly, and Trix gestures over at the table that Azjah had the platypus on it and points over. How is Vlad looking?
Vlad's
After-
looking pretty good. Yeah,
Oh.
like I would say 95%.
And you see Trix kind of click two of their nails together, and this once kind of almost withered platypus spreads its wings, and it's almost like a butterfly that is drying out its wings after a metamorphosis. And you just kind of see these wings are pretty big, and they fly over, and they just kind of perch on Trix's shoulder, and like has a like an awkwardly big smile, especially since like we just could have died in this fight together, and like is pointing at Vlad and is like, yeah, I've been on so many adventures, but then my this is Vlad, by the way, and Vlad was very sick, and I knew Azjah would be the only one that could even do anything about it, and look how happy he is now.
That's horrifying. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Ho-
That
Horrifying?
what I mean to say is I'm so happy for you.
Trix sends Vlad over to Deimos.
Oh yes. I love animals, especially ones that are from somewhere not of this world, of course. I was truly, this makes a lot more sense than thinking you were some friend visiting Azjah.
Oh, we are friends. Well, we used to be. Oh, well, I don't.
That sounds more right.
And looks over and glances over a little bit, and that smile kind of goes away. And they take a deep sigh and look over at Deimos, and it's like, well, how about you? Did you just want to bring over this fungus-ridden body, or?
Yes.
That's a weird way to hang out with your friends.
We are not friends.
We're kind of friends now, though. After
No,
This whole thing.
let me be honest. Azjah's barely tolerating us. I don't really like her. She doesn't really like me. That's fine. I think her and Olga used to like each other more before this exact instance. Outside of that,
I was just going to say, Olga walks in just as you say that and just puts her hand on your shoulder and listens to the conversation. And she seems much more energized and almost as if a completely different person than when she left.
I like tap her hand. But outside of that, I'm not really sure about friends. Where did you go?
Let's not talk about that. What were you two discussing? Azjah and her has-been friends, her would-be friends, are we hypothesizing about a happy future?
Well, I was figuring out why Trix was here because the friend thing didn't make sense. I paid Ches. I was going to ask these two if you would, Trix and Ches. I mean, I'm not sure what's going on here in Kettlebrek, but we are short on people who would like to help.
What do we
You
need
see
help
this-
with, Deimos?
I gesture towards the morgue. I don't know what in the hells that was, but it looked bad. And if there are no people for you to feed on, then you won't have any food.
Well, we've got this sweet little thing right here to. We'll figure out more about that later. There's always food, Deimos. Who's this happy little darling again? Who are you?
And Trix kind of gestures over and kind of does like a little whirl with their finger, and you see Vlad kind of like circling Olga now. And Trix is like, oh, this is Vlad. This is actually why I came to visit Azjah. And Deimos, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think friends do ask friends for favors. And I think you just asked me and Ches to hang out with y'all. I mean, stick around and do whatever. So that's one step closer to friendship.
If I say okay, will that make you stay to figure out what's going on here?
Yeah, I guess that'll do for now.
All right. Cheapest transaction I've had all year. Okay.
And Trix
Had
will
the
walk over
coin
to
in my
Olga.
pocket.
I come out from the morgue, and I'm kind of rubbing my hands together, and I look at everybody who is now gathered in kind of like the triage space, if you will, that initial space that Vlad was in where I was caring for him. And I am kind of sizing everyone up to see injury-wise, like who is the most hurt. And I just kind of sigh. All right, well, there's something that is happening right now with the process of embalming that I can walk away from. Who needs healing?
I'm still actively poisoned.
I gesture to the table for Deimos to sit.
I sit down.
Doctor, may I have my moment now? Are you done with the body?
I am not. It is in the process of embalming, but I will be soon. However, there's not much of him that is recognizable.
You really want to eat that guy? He's basically just a giant mushroom.
Ches, I wanted a moment to say goodbye, not to eat a could-be lover.
Sorry.
But I appreciate your excitement about what I fulfill and nourish myself with. Would you like to be next?
No, I'm good. I look down into my open wound that is kind of seeping a little bit of blood. Like,
That
Nope,
sure is tempting, Ches. And Olga just turns and occupies herself, waiting to be told she can go into the room.
There's a little bit of a sneer on Azjah's lips between that interaction as she begins to assess Deimos. Now, above table, like how many above table. Hi. How many hit points are you down?
Me?
Yeah.
Not enough to be of concern. It's just that I'm poisoned.
Okay. So I'm not. Should I roll medicine to see like the level of poison, the type of poison, stuff like that?
Yeah, you can give a medicine check. Medicine or nature, either one.
Oh God, 24.
Jesus.
You glance up from the floor and go, oh, I know what it is. And
Fucking Dr. House over here.
but we'll get to that later. You actually you can find sort of a collection of herbs and different plants and things, extracts and roots that you can sort of pulverize into a solution that will nullify the effect in 30 minutes or so.
Perfect. So I do that. There is this eerie grace in which I kind of it's almost like this dance as I'm procuring all these different bits and bobs and measuring them accurately enough by eye and placing them in this pestle and mortar that is stained red for reasons unknown. But I kind of mix it all together and just at the very end, there's a small vial of oil that I take, or what appears to be oil, and just a small, very precise, calculated drop falls into this poultice and completely emulsifies it. And there is a small bit of smoke that lifts and a small breeze that anybody standing within that room can feel, as it almost feels like it is being pulled into the center of this object, this salve. And then I bring it over, and with two very delicate, well-manicured hands, I swipe a bit of the poultice and I drag it down Deimos's forehead, all the way down to her chin. And then there are two lines right underneath her lower lip, going horizontally. And as that happens, there is this warmth that you would feel, Deimos, but not on your face. It is in your body. As the salve itself seems to turn into pure shadow and just dissipates, drying, leaving nary a trace. Next,
I could probably take care of this if I got some glue.
Ches, sit down.
Right, fine. My rat muffin is kind of poking his head out, kind of looking at stuff. So he sniffs at the mushroom guy and then goes back down.
I go to procure essentially stuff to create stitches and those kind of things. But as I'm doing that, I look over to Deimos just to admire my work, right? It is nothing more than a self-serving glance to know that I did that.
Deimos is looking at you, Milok.
I trust you feel better then.
You could say that.
Of course I can. And with ease, she just turns and begins to... if this is okay, above table, she is not intending on giving Ches any sedatives or numbing agents. If that is okay. If
Love
not,
it.
please
Yeah.
don't. Okay.
Yeah.
So without any hesitancy, she just goes to disinfect the wound abruptly and then begins to stitch it. Very much like a seamstress, just her hands are moving quick. this woman is probably better than most of the doctors that are in Kettlebrek, but nobody knows that because she is creepy. Right? So she is just like in there like swimwear, gets it all like bandaged up and like tosses the needle and the remaining stitch as she ties it off into a tin where there are other tools that need to be cleaned. And she looks over to Olga and Trix almost in query without speaking, like, who's next?
How many hit points did that get me? Don't you have to roll for that?
I'll let you roll a hit die.
Okay. Me?
No,
Chaz.
Jesse, roll a
me.
hit.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it's a 1d10?
1d10 for your fighter. Plus your constitution.
That would be I'm gonna do math. Oh, 10.
Oh, is that including your con modifier?
Yeah.
Sweet. There you go. 10 hit points. Pretty good.
Only needed 5.
I think as Azjah shoots this look over, is Olga facing away from Dr. Azjah?
Currently, yeah, she's looking over the different shelves and bookcases and desks and just eyeing all of Dr. Azjah's collection. And
Yeah.
occasionally tracing a finger along, checking for dust and like putting her fingers together.
You will find there is no dust.
I know she's checking. She's just running her finger along, being petty.
Actively trying to find some.
Mhm.
Actively trying to be
There's
like,
dust in here.
look,
I'm gonna find
Azjah,
it."
it's dirty.
And she's just hoping that Azjah notices, like out of the corner of her eye, that she's just sizing everything up.
She noticed because she looked, but she doesn't care.
I know.
She's like, yeah, okay.
Trix will kind of like thumbs up Dr. Azjah, not like thinking that, oh, y'all are next to be healed, and maybe thinks like, oh, I'm gonna go talk to Olga now. And kind of like saunters over to Olga with Vlad just kind of been hovering around you and kind of like bumps elbows and is like, my little buddy seems to have a liking to you.
And I have taken a liking to you. Tell me how you came to find yourself here, Trix. What brought you here, and why Kettlebrek? Why Dr. Azjah?
Well, that's a long story, and you see Trix play with the red crimson tip of their hair, and that's where one of the drops of animate blood kind of sat, and they kind of like extract it, and then you see like an orb of just a small little orb, and it's like, I usually feed this to Vlad, but I heard you were hungry back there. Can you?
Olga looks. Is it on your finger? Am I seeing it?
It's
on
kind
your
of like an orb floating right above my palm.
Okay. So Olga leans in, and you see this like sweetness in her eye as she looks at you, and as she's leaning in, starts to open her mouth, and she just like sticks out her tongue and waits for the orb. Deimos, I see you. You better stop. And the orb just floats into her mouth, and she closes her mouth and closes her eyes, and you can see that she takes a moment with it, and her body almost shudders, but in a way that you can tell she's extremely satisfied. And she opens her eyes, and she holds out like the back of her palm, and she takes it to your face, and she like gently takes it down your cheek and says, "Oh, Trix, I can tell we are going to get along just fine." And then she boops your nose, and she gives you a smile.
and tricks before like turning back to look over at Azjah. They like kind of unbuckle one of their jacket pockets and like opens up, and you just see like maybe 20 vials of blood. And it's like, if you ever get hungry, I always have a stash because Vlad. And I look over at Vlad, and I can tell one of their mannerisms, like their little web feet is planking around on the ground because I didn't give them the blood. I gave you the blood, and they're kind of like looking at me angrily. I'm like, I have blood. I'm supposed to be collecting it, and it's. But I think I can give them away because I think I'm up to like around 400 vials now. I'll tell you all about it later. I've collected so much from across the land, and like looks over at Azjah one more time and like thumbs up, like I'm talking to Azjah.
Azjah notices and just is like, as she looks down at where she was impaled by this fungus thing, and starts to kind of like just patch herself up. Yeah, I'm actually gonna cast Cure Wounds on myself. So I am going to do... There's words here. I know words. So 1d8 plus my spellcasting modifier. So 1d8 plus 4. Roll. So that's 7 plus 4 is 11. Right? I did math?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I am a math queer after all. Perfect. So now I'm sitting at 1 HP less than my max.
Question for DM. I have this silver pen. Is there anything written? Is there anything on it, or is it just like this nice silver like ascot pen?
Yeah, it's almost, it's like a male brooch pin, you know, like you can get pearls and things that go inside an ascot. It's like that. Sylvester always had like a penchant for blue things, being a blue tiefling. So the sapphire was just something that, as far as you can tell, is just something that he had to make himself look more ornate than he already did.
Would I have known much about what he was up to before he met up with Olga? Or would it have been like he probably got to town, met up with Olga?
I don't think you would have known much of why other than to meet with Olga.
Okay. Olga, dearest.
Deimos.
Do you know why Sylvester was here, besides to see you? Do you know if he had any other business?
No, I tried to sell him things and he didn't want to buy them. He just wanted to spend time together. I think he just came through to see me, but I can't say for certain. Dr. Azjah.
There, as this conversation is happening and she's being beckoned by Olga, you will just see kind of like there's her jaw is clenched and like the muscles in her face are tightened as there is immense pain shooting through her, and you can see it in her face, but she does not utter a single syllable or gasp as she just kind of slowly and meticulously looks over her shoulder at Olga.
Doctor, I can't help but wonder what happened to my friend this evening. Have you seen anything like it? I mean, I've seen lovers die.
Yes, I know all about them.
And you do always help me in those times of need, but have you seen anything like this? I mean, mushrooms grew from his eyeballs and winding branches enveloped his body. I can't help but feel that this is deeper than bad wine.
I have not, but it is incredibly thrilling to be on the brink of a discovery. I digress.
However, the reason that you knew how to treat the poison so quickly was because you recognized, although a little bastardized, you did recognize the sort of the toadstool head, that shade of purple, very reminiscent. And looking at the condition that it put Deimos into, you put two and two together, and this is very reminiscent of the Death's Shade mushroom, which grows not around sorry, where are we? Not around the Black Heartwood, but higher.
It's a higher elevation?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so it is the Death Shade.
Yeah, Death's Shade.
Death's Shade mushroom.
Like an umbrella.
Okay. I'm just making notes, otherwise I will not remember. Hi, ADHD. I don't think I give that information out. I just kind of look at Olga after saying that it's intriguing, and I say, of course I have samples and there will be plenty of tests to occur. And hopefully I will have more answers soon.
Chaz has walked up to the mushroom corpse and kind of lightly taps part of it with his foot. Yeah, not for nothing. I'd really like to know if this is contagious or something, or it's just like a curse. If it's a curse, I'm fine with that, but I have a very specific idea of how I want to die, and it's not like this.
Chaz, she pauses. My foolhardy friend.
Thank you. Friend. She said it. I got witnesses.
Don't take that to mean anything.
Oh.
You, just like myself and everyone here, does not have the choice in death that we so choose. Instead, we are given what we are given, and we should be thankful. And from that, she just kind of moves back into the morgue section of this building and continues to kind of work to get Sylvester to a place where he is presentable. I'm assuming he is not identifiable. So there's a little bit of magic being worked here where it's like, this is probably not going to be an open casket, but I will open it if you want me to.
It's gonna be like when that one woman tried to restore that painting of Jesus, you know? Like
it's like Azjah is good, but reconstruction on like a mush man, maybe not so much.
I've just got this image of Azjah just kind of like scooping the bits and trying to mold it into Sylvester's face like clay.
I think
maybe we should just plant them somewhere. We'll grow back.
I don't think we want.
I don't know a lot about mushrooms, but I do know that you know, you put one in there and then like five more sprout somewhere else.
Hey, Shez, I have a question for you.
Shoot.
Do you want that? Do you want 5 of them?
Honestly, it was kind of fun fighting that thing. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, the correct answer was no. That was the wrong answer.
Okay, I didn't know this was a pop quiz.
It's okay. You'll do better next time.
I have a question above it. Since Azjah has such close ties with the dead and spirits, is there anything that is lingering here?
Give me Give me a religion check.
That's a 7.
7. The only other presence that you feel is the one that you were accustomed to feeling.
Gotcha. Okay, so I nod, and I'm just going to assume, for all intents and purposes, that I'm just doing my job, and this person, this being, this entity, is sated. And so I put the sheet back over this pile of compost, and I move back past the curtain from the mausoleum, and I nod to Olga. He is as ready as he will be, but do not expect much.
Thank you, as always, Doctor. Olga says as she nods at Dr. Azjah and begins to walk toward the body. And she looks back as if she is ensuring that nobody's staring at her, because she wants this moment of privacy. And she makes eye contact with Deimos and gives this look like this is my moment. Like nobody bother me. And just sort of nods at Deimos and then looks down at the body again and waits, hoping that Deimos will ask for privacy on her behalf.
Yeah, I think as you start moving, Deimos was already moving parallel and is I'm standing in the doorway.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Olga takes a moment and looks at the body and pulls the sheet back. And can you describe one more time what she sees? Because I know it's pretty goopy, but I just want to understand if there's any part of him that resembles a human.
Yes. So as he had sort of decomposed before, you saw the form of him, but it was completely replaced. You know, when fossilization occurs and it's not the fossil that's still there, that was, but it's now this other material that is deposited in its place. It's like that. And then it broke down into a lot of sort of black mush. But you can sort of see the semblance of his left arm and maybe his right shoulder. There's little parts that you can if you squinted from a distance, you could be okay, I kind of see it.
Okay. So Olga takes a deep breath in through her nose and out slowly through her mouth and pulls the sheet back to about waist length, I'd say, and just kind of looks in horror at the body. And at one point she covers her mouth because there's a bit of a smell as he is very rapidly decomposing. And she sort of starts to turn her head away at first, as if she can't really behold him in this state, and starts to just sort of quietly whisper to herself in a very forced, hushed tone, Sylvester, you stupid man. I told you not to come here. I told you Kettlebrek is no good. I told you I am no good. You stupid man. And then she throws the sheet really fast over his head and just sort of like takes her hands and just puts them down on the edge of the table and just was very nervously, almost like tapping. And then she takes another deep breath in through her nose and out through her mouth and sort of pulls her shirt taut as if straightening her clothes and lifts her head and sighs and forces a smile. And then she walks to the doorway and puts her hand on Deimos' shoulder and says, I'm ready. Are you? Where are we off to next?
Well, we need to figure out what else Sylvester was doing here.
I told you. I don't think anyone else in this room would know.
No, but we can check around town. It's not a big place. We just need to know where else he went. If this is contagious, as Ches mentioned, there could be other people who are sick or other person who gave it to him.
Out of character, would Sylvester have told Olga that there was any other reason he was in town?
Yeah, he actually mentioned that he was there for a business meeting, but that he had a lot of free time around it.
Okay. And do I know who any of his business connections would be?
I don't think so, and I don't think he would have cared.
That's correct. I wouldn't have. That's
Ow.
true. I wouldn't have listened.
What do you do for work? Well, I did. That wasn't a real question.
I don't
Jay,
think
you're
he
so
would have
real
even
for that.
asked,
You're so
so-
real for that. Thank you. Okay.
I gotta get to know the characters.
Yeah, you're doing great. So in character, Olga looks at Deimos and says, I don't know. He was here on business or something. Maybe that's what he said. I'm not sure. But we could ask around. That's a wise idea, Deimos.
Do you know? No, you wouldn't.
No, I probably wouldn't.
Do I know what kind of business Sylvester would have been doing? Like, what his job, quote unquote, was? Or
No,
there's
we'd already said that you didn't know any of the details other
oh
than
yeah, we said that. Yeah.
to meet with Olga. Yeah.
Well, Trix, would you like a tour?
Yes. Could I actually? Yes. I've been here before. I would love to see what changed, but can I talk to Azjah real quick? And then kind of like sees if Azjah will follow me towards the morgue.
Deimos makes an actively confused face and says, "All right."
There's an eye roll. It is on paper very silent, but it is loud enough that it is occupying the space in this room as she just kind of gestures to the curtain. After you then, Bellatrix.
Yeah, they go through and they kind of haphazardly is just kind of like looking at Sylvester's remains and kind of looks up at Azjah and is like, I know that part of your job is to handle all this. Is it a weird question to ask if you extracted any blood from this body?
There was no blood after the fungus took over. And you see there's a moment of doubt on Azjah's face as she moves to frantically check to see if she did grasp any blood from this thing or if there was any blood left over. Was there?
No. There were no open wounds before the transformation.
Got it. And so after that look of just like almost panic, it like subsides. I'm afraid that by the time this thing got brought to me, there were no open wounds, just blackness in the eyes, odd things growing from his eyeballs, almost like a wooden texture to the skin. It was quite intriguing. And you see her just veer off. Focus is gone. She is like the cogs are turning in her head as she is kind of like out loud speaking this list and going through everything again and making sure that she didn't miss anything, but also reveling in the fact that this is something that has excited her. A lot of what she does is, she's a back alley doctor. Like, people who don't want any paper trail go see her. But there's a sick excitement here as she pauses to look at Trix. I do apologize. I tend to get carried away.
Oh,
anyway.
You don't have to apologize. I think it's really cool that you're so interested in all this. The last thing is, I just wanted to say thank you. And you see Trix click their fingernails twice again, and you see Vlad kind of fly through the door and just kind of land right beside Dr. Azjah. And it's like, I don't know what you did, and I don't know what you had to do for it, but seriously, I do regret that it was under these conditions that I had to come back and see you, but I'm kind of glad that I did.
I see. And she looks to Vlad, and for the first time, there's a softness in her face as she just kind of cocks her head to this side and gives him a soft nod with a soft, genuine, and gentle smile before her hardened gaze looks back at Trix. I suppose things happen as they are supposed to. So, that being said, I am not one to deny fate. What will be, and if you are here, it is begrudgingly for a purpose.
Well, I whether how long or short or whatever in between, I just want to say thank you again, and I'm sorry. And you see Trix kind of like shuffle towards the door frame, and they look back at Dr. Azjah, and it's like, how can you, and you see Trix almost turn like infantile, trying to get their words together, and it's like, hey, Azjah, can you take me back to the school?
There's a halt in her breath. Her jaw clenches as there's a sting at those words as memories just pour from beneath the surface, bubbling into this agony that causes her entire body to tense. Why would you ask me to go there?
Oh, I just thought if we were gonna go back into town, I thought we could maybe just, reminisce over old times.
If you wish to go back, I will take you, but do not expect me to reminisce. And she, at this point, is angered, though it is quiet It is a force. There is a storm brewing now inside this woman as she breezes past Trix and goes through the curtain, past everyone else and into the main area with her lounge chair, and just sits and begins to open that journal that is on the arm and starts to write frantically.
Well, Deimos says as Azjah goes and sits down, I suppose that's us being told we're done here. I'm heading back into town to see if I can figure out what Sylvester was up to, and any clues into if we all need to be terrified that we are all now infected with whatever the hell that was. People are welcome to join me, or I would say sit here, but this isn't my home, so people are welcome to join me or do whatever else they're going to do.
No, she does not like it if you stick around too long. When she starts writing, it's the
That's
GTFO.
the quiet autistic, you should leave, we're done talking.
Wow, called out. I think you hear from the other room because it's not an immense amount of space between rooms.
Mhm.
Deimos, you are fine. The poultice that I delivered unto you will ensure that the poison you had in your system is no longer there.
That's lovely to hear.
You're welcome. Now please leave.
That's
And
what I
she
was
just-
doing.
She doesn't even care. She's so gone right now. She is so
Daddy.
angry. And she just starts to like scribble harder.
That wasn't
Exactly.
that wasn't ambiance. That was my window being open and a train going
No,
by.
it was
Sorry.
totally ambiance.
Yeah, it was
totally
great.
There aren't-
ambiance.
I don't think we have steam engines in this world.
We
That's
might.
what
I don't
you-
know.
That's what you think.
Don't limit it.
I
Ew.
Only dreams, sweet dreams.
When Olga or when Dr. Azjah does that and just starts feverishly writing in her journal, Olga leans to Deimos and, was it something we said?
Yes, I think it's the fact we are living and said anything.
Oh, fair. Well, let's get going. I think we
course.
can make it back in time to find someone to sate my hunger.
Of course.
Trix, are you coming?
Yeah, you see Trix just like staring off, and right when Olga says, "Trix, are you coming?" they like shake their head, and Vlad flies up onto their shoulder, and they kind of like haphazardly jog right over to Deimos and like nudges her shoulder and is like, "Did you say you were going to give me a tour of the town?"
Yes, it was more of if you wanted to go with us. I will not be pointing on each building or anything like that.
take
I
care
can
of
do that for you. Oh, let's call out all the buildings as we walk.
Yeah. I mostly know the alleyways, but I got a few buildings in here.
And
No,
Azjah, do you are you done writing whatever you're writing feverishly?
Azjah just looks up annoyed and like blinks, very hardened for a moment as she continues to write for another easily minute in silence, and she places the pen back and then closes the book. Fine. I suppose I should see if there's any additional cases of this odd virus.
Lovely. It's a group outing then.
A group of
People.
that may be called.
I don't know what you're fishing for, Trix. I really
Okay.
don't.
Okay, it's okay. We can go.
Wonderful. I just a few gun rules. Shez would already know this. Olga, don't worry about you, darling. Trix, do not embarrass me in the streets of Kettlebrek. I will make it a very bad day for you.
What could I do to embarrass you?
You know what? You'll know it if you see it. It's one of those things.
Well, if I ever get too much, let me know. But I don't want to get to the point where I don't know that I don't know.
Yes, of course. I won't let that happen. I am saying I've built up my own reputation of sorts, and it can help us in this way. So if you're unsure if you should be talking, just let me talk.
Oh, okay, I can do that. I do like to talk, though, and talking is one of my strengths. I've heard over
Yes.
time that...
I'm sure you are a lovely conversator, but we're trying to find information and not make friends.
Okay, so by being a good friend to you, I won't try to make other friends. Got it. I'm ready to go when y'all are.
Azjah is already at the door with like her plague doctor mask and her overcoat, and she's got like her sickle, and like underneath this overcoat there is a cat suit, which you would probably see if you were paying attention before she put this coat on. She's got her vials and everything. She's already geared up as this conversation has happened and has opened the door and is like gesturing out to everybody.
Kez just finishes reloading his pistol from the one shot he took in the fight last time. He's like, all right, let's go not make some friends.
I take Olga's hand. This was a mistake. I clearly made a mistake. Why did I invite all these people? This is too many people. This isn't inconspicuous.
Deimos, I will handle your errors later. But yes, you made a mistake.
Let's go.
And then I think you see Trix kiss the bill of Vlad, and like this is the first time Vlad's been able to like fly outside, and they just kind of like take off. And I'll send Vlad 100 feet ahead of us just as they fly, also as a lookout because they're my sentient vampire platypus, as one does. Just to look out first.
Just a normal sentence you say.
Chez opens one of his pockets and Muffin pokes out and is like, he points at the flying platypus. Like, why can't you do that?
Because he's a rat, Chez.
Yeah, he just disappoints me sometimes.
Oh,
You know, I suppose that's accurate for the kind of company you keep. And by that, I mean yourself. And she just like ushers everybody out. Nobody is safe from Azjah right now. She's so angry.
On a rampage.
She's
I'm sorry.
so angry.
It was my fault.
Sorry.
It's my fault.
Making me socialize. Cool. So so Vlad takes off up over the sort of the blackened trees, scouting ahead, although their vision is somewhat obscured with the trees overhead. You guys are following that sort of muddy path, the dirt road, back to Kettlebrek proper, back to the cobblestone streets. Is there anywhere in particular that you are going? You said you were going to try and find out about Sylvester. Are you headed back to his room?
Olga suggests to the group to head back to the tavern and inquire with Big Lou about, obviously Big Lou would have been the one that rented Sylvester the room, what sort of hours Sylvester kept leading up to that evening, and perhaps who he might have seen. That's Olga's recommendation.
This is gonna do what Olga said. We already know that, so.
I think knowing what Azjah knows and has not shared, she will likely take Trix and possibly Ches if he wanted to, and seek out some other answers. But as she did say, she was going to take Trix back to the orphanage.
Out of character, can I ask what time it is right now? I feel like it's really late in the evening, yeah?
Oh,
yes. Yeah, right now, yes, it would be. Like, it's always kind of dark in
Yeah.
Kettlebrek because of the smog.
Mhm.
But yeah, I would say it's getting on into the night.
Okay.
I mean, I would go if I'll go to the tavern and remind everyone else they're all adults.
I heard the word tavern, so that's Kez very much like to go there. I have this fresh new gold coin to spend, you know?
And now you don't need just 70%. You can get a whole 100%. Look at you.
Well, I'd also like to search Sylvester's room when we get there. So I
Okay.
guess the three of us are heading to the tavern.
And then Trix and I are heading towards the school. But I will say that Trix will start to see the avoidance of people towards Azjah as she just kind of saunters through the night.
Okay. Yeah, so you make it back to Kettlebrek proper together, but that is where you guys will part ways, at least for now. Let's go to the school. Let's go to the school first. We've been to the tavern. Let's go to the school. It is nighttime, so it is sort of extra dark for Kettlebrek standards. It takes maybe 10-15 minutes once you've reached those cobblestone roads to meander. I guess Azjah kind of tailing a couple of steps behind in reluctance, being brought over to the school, which stands with these sort of wrought iron fences around the outside. Tall, domed iron bar gates. Behind that, a dark gray, sort of slate gray stone building with large double doors in front, beneath an arched roof with you can see to the left and the right the two wings of the school going off either side, but we walk towards the gate and you see bent into the iron of the gates, Little Whispers Orphanage.
Yeah. I think you see Trix trying to slow down their pace to match Azjah's, but their kind of innate excitement seeing something that they hadn't seen in years just kind of propels them forward. And as they get close enough to run their finger across the bars, they look up and they see the structure that once was maybe a little lighter gray, but it was what they realized. And they take a step back and kind of walks towards Azjah again, and kind of stops them, and it's like, look, they haven't fixed anything. And they point towards the gate where we would used to sneak out when the gates were locked, and you can just kind of see these bars kind of opened up a bit, and they're just like, wow, some things really don't change, huh?
Right. And she just kind of stands and stares. She keeps the mask on as she peers over the wrought iron, quickly her eyes darting to the graveyard in which she spent a significant amount of time.
Azjah, as you gaze upon Little Whispers, give me a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, great. Perfect. I love that so much. All right. Man. 24.
24. The tingle, the feeling that sort of creeps up your spine towards the nape, is chilling at first, but it starts to subside.
Do I know this sensation as familiar?
Have you been back here since?
No.
No.
I'm actually going to try to explore that. I'm not one to shy away from the unknown. And Trix would see Azjah just kind of like hyperfixate on something that they cannot see. Nor can Azjah. But am I getting a sense that it is coming from this graveyard?
With a 24? No.
I don't know where it's coming from.
Nope.
Okay, cool. I'm going to push.
So good, you have no knowledge.
Perfect. I'm going to push past Trix, and I'm just going to, like a dog on the scent, like on the trail of a scent. I am trying to track this thing down.
Okay. So, pushing past Trix, you push the gates open. They creak as you walk along the pathway that leads up to the arched doorway. And as you approach, that's where we're going to take a quick 10-minute break. And we will pick that up when we get back.
I'm so excited. All right, friends, we'll see you soon. 10 minutes. Make sure you stretch, hydrate, get a snack. We love you. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We will see you in 10 minutes. Hi, welcome back. Thanks for hanging out, friends. I'm really excited. Let's kick this thing off. Jerry, if you want to give us a recap, that would be great.
Awesome. Yes. So the again, I want to call them a party. Not quite yet. The group sort of debriefed after their run-in with the transformed Sylvester. After that, agreeing in parts to somewhat stay together, maybe by very, very thin lines. Olga, Deimos, and Ches are heading back to Sylvester's room at the Sitting Duck Inn to investigate and do some sleuthing, while Azjah takes Trix back to the school where they grew up, somewhat against Azjah's better judgment. Upon getting to the school, Little Whispers Orphanage, you see the two wings on either side and the large doors. You push through the gates, kind of ignoring that chilled feeling that you had initially, and push on in. And so, as you walk up to the main doors of Little Whispers, what would you like to do?
I'm really just trying to find where that sensation came from. I'm assuming that that chill was supposed to be negative or bad or harmful or dangerous. But there's a part of me, my animal brain, in which I'm fixated on it. And I need to find it.
Okay. So you approach the front doors. It is late at night. Are you trying to go in through the front door?
Yeah.
Okay. You go to try the door and the handle turns. You pull the door open and you are met with a very familiar corridor. Black and white tiled floor in diamonds, leading the way in towards the center of the school. Portraits on either side of the founders of Little Whispers. Two men who you never met. It was more of a namesake donation, maybe a tax break more than anything. People that don't even live in Kettlebrek. They're definitely from Skellingchester. And definitely haven't visited since the ribbon cutting. Walking down the hallway, your boots start to click and echo down these empty hallways. Is there anything in particular that you're looking for?
Honestly, no. I think that chill is really just taken over my body. I haven't felt it since I got here, but I am frantically seeking this. Frantically. And I mean, there is a obsession here. I will likely, for flavor, find my way winding through the corridors to a place just beneath the stairs in which, when I was a child, I spent a lot of time when I had to be inside.
Yeah. Trix, are you following?
Yeah, Trix is almost side by side. They see this at first when they were outside, that solemnness when Azjah took a pause, like that reminded them of our hangouts at the graveyard. But to see them almost sprint faster towards the doors, I think they're kind of lost in this idea that Azjah is excited again, not knowing that inside they are just trying to figure out what they're feeling. So they're like right beside Azjah and headed towards these stairs that they know pretty well, because if we were stuck inside, this is probably where Trix was as well.
Yeah. There is as you head towards these familiar stairs, it's a like a circular staircase, wooden stairs that as soon as you plant your foot on that bottom step, there's that familiar creak, the same creak that it made when you guys were kids. It hasn't changed at all. They've fixed nothing. Nothing is different. It's as if time has stood still since you walked out of those gates for the last time. You hesitate for a second before pressing on upwards. Heading up the stairs to the next floor, a couple of doors down to the right is the room that you were brought to Azjah, when they didn't know what to do with you. Where you would have to just spend time and reflect on the things you would say, the unnatural behavior, the dark energy that would surround you. There wasn't always cause to punish, but they would send you here to be away. As you open the door, the round, sort of brassy doorknob, the door clicks and opens. And as you walk in and see the small chair facing a square table, which then faced a wall, I need you to make another wisdom saving throw.
All right. 25.
Another chill runs up your spine as you look around this room.
Hey, Azjah, are you okay? Why are we here?
I think at that point, that's when the mask becomes unfastened and she takes it off, quickly fastening it and attaching it to a side loop on her belt. Where are you? Who are you? Show me.
There's no answer. But what I do need is the two of you to make insight checks.
13.
That's a 6 for me.
Azjah seems rattled. Azjah, you get nothing.
There's this anger. There's this sense of knowing. And honestly, there's this wave of deep sadness that just blankets Azjah as she almost instinctively, in a very defeated manner, moves to sit in this chair.
Hey, it's really late. I know I asked you to bring us here, but we can come back in the morning. This is
where they kept me. This was my chair. She runs her fingers over the claw marks on the table that are still there. Carvings of otherworldly beings, drawn in stick figure fashion, as a child would. And there's one of her holding the hand of a darker, shadowy figure. And above it, you see my friend, scrawled out into the wood, with an arrow pointing haphazardly to this creature, and Azjah haphazardly scrawled into the desk above her own image. And you see that the outline of Azjah and her being is much older than the claw marks that are going over her face. They kept me here Trix. When I was too much. When I said too many strange things. When I got too close to the other children. They always left. And then it was I, alone, with nothing but spirits to call my friends. Azjah would cry if she had the capability of actual sadness, but instead of that primary emotion that she should deal with, it just bubbles with anger. Whatever it was, I firmly believe it wanted me here. And I don't know why. And her voice trails off as she peers into the darkness, staring at this wall that she has memorized so many times before. The cracks in the mortar are still there.
I think Trix, without saying anything and just listening, sits on the ground right next to Azjah, and I want to cast Dancing Light to illuminate the room, just so we can kind of see more what's going on, so that I can see from Azjah's perspective of what she had to deal with, especially when I left. And you kind of see Trix, usually very confident in the magic that they cast. You see kind of like trembling fingers as they click them together, and you see these like crimson orbs of light that kind of glow between orange and yellows, and you see 4 orbs kind of fly up towards the corner of the room. Do we see anything out of the ordinary that we wouldn't have seen in the dark?
No, nothing stands out. You didn't spend time here, though. So you're kind of taking in everything for maybe the first time.
I'm sorry.
No, go on.
I will say you will find that it is strange that there are truly just carvings everywhere. I mean, there are carvings in the walls, in the wooden boards of the floor. This is the room of a child who truly had no outlet, and most of these images are of spirits, but there is only one in which Azjah is interacting with in a way that there is physical touch, and that is the one on the desk. You will see letters carved into various places. A lot of them are cries. I don't know why they don't like me. I wish I had friends. I just want to play. And then you'll see various names. Thomas lets me play ball with him sometimes. He's a little boy I met in the graveyard. He doesn't leave me. With the light now in this room, am I noticing anything different?
It's never been as lit as it is right now. Yeah, I was trying to figure out a different word. Like looking around, everything is brighter than you remember it. But again, it's as if it's just been stuck in stasis.
I look at Trix. Perhaps now you understand why I'm so bitter about you leaving.
I didn't even know that you... I didn't even know that you wanted me here. I thought we were friends. I thought we had a bigger connection, and I overheard you just yelling, screaming that you don't have friends and they always leave. And I thought, hey, if I don't have you to hang out with, then there's no one here for me. That's why I left.
That last time, we were playing together. The matrons pulled me away and threw me in here. They told me that you said you did not want to see me again. They said that you said I was weird. I was unholy. I was cursed. Just like they said everyone else I got close to said that.
You see Trix kind of like stumble up from the ground and kind of lean down and look at Azjah for the first time, probably with enough strength to look her in the eyes. And you see tears well up in their eyes. They're blinking quickly, but their eyebrows are stern. Those matrons, they put me away. They told me that if I keep going to the graveyards, then I will become unholy. I will be part of them, and gestures over at the graveyard. They told me that you were a bad influence, that I needed to go, otherwise I would be... And you just see Trix kind of take a step back. The words almost fall out of their mouth. Be like you. And I promise it wasn't a... I would have loved to be like you. But when I heard you screaming that you had no friends, that they always leave, I just assumed I was just another one of those friends that you don't have, that was forced to leave.
Well, Trix, there is some truth to what they said. And she stands up and slowly puts her mask back on and fastens it as she moves towards the door. She looks back I am a bad influence. And she just walks back towards the stairs, stopping for a moment, frustrated that she couldn't get to the bottom of this chill. And slowly moving towards the stairs.
As you move towards the stairs, thinking about this place and talking about these memories, your head is drawn to the right. At the back of a corridor, there is a door with it's a stained glass pane in the top, stained glass in the visage of Palor. And you recognize this as Sister Ursula's office. And with that, I need you to make another wisdom saving throw.
13.
In that instant, you are hearted back to your childhood, heading towards that door. But your shoulder hurts so much because you are being dragged by the wrist towards the office. Sister Ursula at your side, thundering forwards, and with each step, she swings her arm forward and pulls it slightly out of the socket every time.
Please, I'm sorry. I didn't do it. I don't know what you did or what I did. Please, I'm sorry.
Just be quiet.
But you're hurting me.
Ignores you and takes you to the office.
What did I do?
Opens the door, pulls you in, closes the door, locks it, and then almost dragging, almost tossing towards one of the chairs that faces her desk.
I didn't do it. You told me to leave everybody alone, and I did. I was by myself. I didn't do anything.
She sits behind her desk in the old wooden chair, leans forward, and says, "But you weren't, were you?"
No, but I didn't let anybody see me. I'll just, you can just put me in the room. I'll just go to the room.
I'm not sure that's good enough this time. We've tried the room.
I can't help it. I don't want to do this. I don't want to talk to people that nobody else can see. I don't want them to tell me things.
Nobody tells you things. It's all in your head.
Okay. If I say okay, will you let me go to the room?
I think we're past the room.
Do you want me to leave? I don't mind. I'm a big girl now. I can go. I have friends.
No. I want you to be holy and righteous and correct in your mannerisms.
You just see this look of defeat. Yes, Sister Ursula. Okay. I will be holy and righteous and correct. And I will not talk to the people who you say are in my head anymore. Not even Thomas, who likes to play ball with me.
And you start to see like the vein just to the side of her temple just start to protrude as she's just trying to keep everything sort of bottled up to maintain that sort of pious status that she holds at the school. She gets up quietly, walks over and just says, "Come with me."
Okay, but please don't pull my arm anymore. It really hurts.
She opens the door and walks ahead of you.
I walk behind her. Every other step is a little step and a half, trying to keep up. And I keep my eyes down and just watch her feet as she moves to follow behind her.
She walks down the stairs.
I follow as I look over to the side, seeing Thomas kind of just like... I just kind of gesture like, go away.
Ursula gives one look over her shoulder as you like quickly.
Nope, I'm following. I'm following correctly. And she kind of just like fakes a smile.
She walks you down the stairs to that last step where it gives that familiar creak, which sends pain through your mind as you realize that you were gone for a second.
I look to the left for a moment, as if to look for Thomas. Come, Trix, I think it is time to leave.
I think when you look to the left, I was standing where you saw Thomas in that flashback. And for a glimpse, for a moment, I thought everything was okay. And then you look away, and Trix follows, almost in the same vein as Sister Ursula and you in the flashback as we make our way down the stairs. Trix takes a moment to kind of gather the thoughts. Vlad has been quiet, normally a very jubilous creature, has been sitting on my shoulder, providing some level of comfort, but this was different. This was supposed to be nostalgic and reflective of the good times. And Trix makes it to the bottom of the stairs. So, do you want to go meet up with the others, or do you want to go to the graveyard?
Azjah, as you get down to the bottom of the steps, your eyes dart to that last step.
There's a hesitance as I pause and linger for a moment briefer than a second. But it's noticeable as my body language changes to one of fear. before I take that last step. What kind of purveyor of death would I be if I had not visited my friends once more while I was here? To the graveyard. And I think as I move towards the door, I look back. Remembering all of the things that have occurred here to shape me into the person I was, for better or worse, depending on who you ask. And the air around me feels warmer. Almost as if by my infernal nature, the hellfire that I was born within lingers, dancing over the top of my skin. As a physical embodiment of the anger and the hatred I feel. And I move towards the door.
Heading towards the door. It's still open from when you entered before, so a slight push. And you're able to walk back out of Little Whispers once more. Looking ahead and remembering that pathway that leads to the wrought iron gates ahead, now rust covered. And you walk towards them. Each step gives a little bit more peace as you reach the gate and slip between them out onto the streets of Kettlebrek once more. And with that, we're going to hop over to everyone else on their way to the Sitting Duck Inn. Is there anything you guys wanted to do on the way or talk about or anything like that? Or do we want to just fast track straight to the Sitting Duck?
Deimos doesn't have any on-camera business that's important. Just to be small talking with Olga about whatever, like a book that Olga had her read or something.
Olga's happy to just go straight to the tavern.
Yeah. As flicking the coin he has and snatching it out of the air over and over again as he's walking.
The one coin. Yep.
Yeah. I have more gold. It's just that this is the one I'm gonna spend.
Yeah. So coming up to the sort of frosted glass windows that are sort of yellowed a little bit. Those, especially for Ches, those familiar doors ahead. Again with the frosted glass with Sitting Duck etched into the frosting. You open up the doors and walk in, and it's fairly busy. You know, it's late and it's a tavern, so you know, a lot of Kettlebrek is here right now. You see Lou behind the bar, sort of hovering around and fixing drinks and things, and one eye clocks straight to Ches. And he says, "You got my sheet, Ches? You got my sheet?"
Your sheet?
My sheet! You took my sheet! Where's my sheet?
I don't know what you're talking about, Lou.
Don't play that with me. I know I saw you.
Yeah, Shez, where's the sheet?
All right. Start like pretending to not know where it is on my jacket. Like, oh, silly me. Yeah, there it is.
I know it comes easy, but you don't have to play the moron all the time.
Who says I'm playing? Come on.
Lou, was it?
Yeah, that's me.
I was wondering if I might ask you some questions.
He like looks around, and there's that same gnome that you met in the hallway running around. He says, "You got this." Okay. And he hovers around to the wider sort of exit of the bar.
Yeah,
big dude, big floating head dude.
Meatball.
Passes by and hovers around to not in a booth, but just sort of facing the table. Doesn't really need to sit down.
Yeah. Deimos will tell Shez, get yourself a drink.
I will. And I hop on over to the bar. My little coin just happening. Oh, I can get so much just mead with
one
this.
of Lou's eyes just tracks you around.
Don't worry about him. He's fine. He's helped us a lot today. The man that was here earlier, Sylvester, that went to the big room.
Oh. Yeah.
He bought your finest wine, if you recall.
Yeah, the blue guy.
Yes. Did you catch any word on what he needed the room for, or anyone else visit him besides us?
I don't give a shit. His gold spends.
Right. But if you gave a shit, would you know anything?
If I gave a shit. He sort of ponders, and like the main eye kind of rolls around a little bit. Now, if I gave a shit, then that would be a different question, because then I would have found out. However, I do not give a shit, nor have I given a shit. He paid up front for the week, and that's good enough for me.
The week, that's something. That's information, thank you.
When did he check in?
2 days ago.
And how much money would it cost for you to give a shit all of a sudden, Lou?
Present Lou or past Lou?
I don't care, whatever.
Past Lou didn't give a shit.
Deimos, I don't suppose this man is going to be very helpful. Let's just go up to the room.
I'll meet you up there. I have one other idea.
Olga begins to go up to the room.
And if, I will mind link me and Olga. If you need anything, just holler.
Olga begins to advance up the stairs.
I want to find the gnome.
Yeah, I mean, the gnome is running around behind the bar. Behind the bar, there is a separate sort of runway that steps up so that the gnome can face out to everyone else.
Chez, would you sit at the bar or would you sit at a booth?
The bar.
I think I sit down
The
next
booth
to
I
Chez.
had that I prefer is occupied. So I'm
Bummer. We hate to see it. Sorry,
Yeah.
we made you lose your seat. I'll sit next to Chez and like gesture for the gnome to come over.
Oh, are we done? You just walked off?
Sorry, Lou, I stopped giving a shit.
You're all right.
I know.
And floats off behind the bar again.
You, and points at the gnome.
Is it safe to go in there?
Oh, honestly, probably not.
Oh, then what do you want?
I would like to know, since you're the one who handles the rooms, if you saw anyone else coming or going besides me and my friend to that room.
Better not have.
When?
Any time between right this moment and before.
Scans through the hundreds of years that it's lived.
I mean, as long as Sylvester's had the
Eyes
room.
just kind of
Even
dying
Chez was like,
around.
"That's a little broad, man." Like,
Sorry. Since
no,
Sylvester
I-
has had the room.
No, I don't think so. No, well, not other than the ones that were meant to be there. You know that before.
Sylvester. Yes.
Yeah.
Did you hear him talk about any business or meetings he had? Did he let you know of anyone coming besides us?
No, although guests here don't really tell us a lot.
I've come to understand that, and I understand why he
very
probably
discreet
booked
here.
the place.
So I like it.
So it's
I'm
just
sure.
a case of if the books are good, then we're good.
Then no one gives a shit, right? Thank you. Please go away now.
Okay. He just runs down the steps. Lou's like, your shift ain't over. Get back here.
Olga is at the top of the stairs, getting ready to enter the room, and she sees Deimos. I assume, is Deimos coming up the stairs?
We're at the
Right.
bar.
Deimos is at the bar and would.
Still.
Yeah, I think their mind link would let you know. I'm gonna have a drink. I'll be up in a moment.
Okay. So in Olga's mind, before she goes in the door, she says to Deimos, she says, Lou might be my next meal with an attitude like that. Do you think it's safe for me to go in?
Truly, I personally rather you not risk it, but we both know you are a very independent woman and will do what you want.
And she opens the door. And she goes inside. And she looks around, and is everything as it was when we left?
Give me a perception check.
Okay, oh my god.
This is for like just a glance around the room.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, that's not terrible. Okay, 18.
18. I mean,
Mhm.
you spent like a good amount of time here. Even with like a quick glance around, you can tell that if anything has been moved, then it's been meticulously put back, almost identically to how it was before.
Okay,
But that's just the paranoid side of your brain.
right. So Olga walks around to near the four-post bed, and she checks to see if he has like a bag, any sort of luggage or anything like that that he left behind. And if so, she would like to search it.
Yeah, there are bags, but he was checked in for a week, so he's actually used like the
Like trunks.
yeah, like
Yeah.
so he has those, but they are empty other than shoes inside them.
Mhm.
His clothes are all hung in like closet wardrobes.
Okay.
But other than that, you can give me an investigation check if you just kind of if you're looking around for bags and belongings. and things.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So that's a crit. So 24.
24. Okay. Yeah, so other than those bags and the belongings that you'd known him to kind of have out, you do come across, like when you drop down to look around the trunks, you move your head to the side and something glints like underneath the bed. And so you look a little bit closer and you can see that it's a buckled like messenger bag.
Well, that piques my interest, and Olga picks up the messenger bag and attempts to open it.
You open up the messenger bag, and there are papers. If you take them out to take a look through them, there seems to be it's money without being money. It's like a lot of bonds, like paper bonds, one after the other, after the other, after the other. That if you take the time to kind of scan across the amounts, they would total somewhere in the region of like 10,000 gold.
Okay. Is there anything else in the bag, or is it just the money?
There is also another sort of leather book that is buckled shut as well.
This feels like Russian nesting dolls. Can I open the buckle on the little book, please?
Yes, and as you open that buckle and open up the book, there is another leather-bound book inside. So as you open it up, you can see that it's sort of like journal entries, but more like a business journal more than anything. It's kind of like meeting notes, but like very shorthand. You know, the sort of notes that you would take if you were deeply engrossed in the meeting because it was very important and you just needed to make a quick mental note of a couple of things. So like per page there's maybe like 3-4 words on it.
Okay. Does anything stand out to her? Names, addresses, times, words of interest?
Okay. So flicking through that, you would see that he was so I'll summarize like the what you were able to gather through sort of reading over these notes, kind of riding off of that really high investigation check using your intelligence to put things together. You would find out that he's heavily invested in the railroad that joins Kettlebrek to Skellingchester. And it's the same one that he rode in on. And you would know that this is... So Kettlebrek is like an industrial sort of slum town, right? So there's lots of like factories and things around, very working class area. So the train station, it doubles as sort of personal transport at one end of the platform, and at the other end it's all just like freight and things.
Okay.
What was that?
I said okay.
So it's like freight and things. So from all the different factories across the area, you can kind of put together that that's a lot of how he sort of turns money into more money. You see one note that stands out. That is initial KB at the top and underlined twice. And then underneath is your name, and then the word intoxicating with 2 question marks next to it. And then underneath that, it says second rendezvous.
So as Olga is looking through all this, she is mind meld with Deimos, saying, I found a book inside a book inside a book. And in that book
It was a letter, and I sent that letter to Cusco.
And in that book, he writes of the railroad. Boring. I could have never been with a railroad man. How could you imagine? And the initials KB and me. And there's a lot of money here, but I didn't tell you that. But I told you that, Deimos. But I didn't tell you that, Deimos. I'm not sure what it all means, but it gives us somewhere to look. Are you getting anything downstairs?
A pint?
You fool. And
Well-
Olga walks over to the table where that wine was sitting, cork off, being fully aerated and not in a good way, and just pours herself more wine and sits down and says, well, I might enjoy what the man at least left behind and ruminate on what could have been while you sit down there and do nothing but drink your pint, Deimos.
I will be up momentarily. One moment. Shez.
Yep.
Do you know anyone in the railroad business? I don't mean who owns it. I mean the workers, any laborers.
I mean, yeah, I got some friends that work the rails. Not like anyone fancy like a conductor or anything, but driving the spikes in, carrying luggage for the
Perfect.
commuters and stuff. Yeah.
That's perfect, Shez. We will need to follow up on that later. And then to Olga.
Where is this coming from, by the way? You just randomly mentioned.
I
railroad.
put a finger up and Shez. I go back in my head to Olga.
Wait, she's on the other line.
Please hold.
Olga, I have now done something.
Olga is taking a very loud, drawn-out, dramatic sip.
I can't hear you sipping, but I hear your pause.
She sets her glass down. Goes, and what have you done, dear Deimos?
Ches knows people at the rail. We can look into it tomorrow. Now, if you are still hungry, I have been drinking the ale you like.
I could go for some food and then some sleep. I would hate this bed to go to waste.
I'll be up in a moment.
And Olga takes the glass of wine and stands up from the chair and just kind of sort of like gleefully traipsing over to the bed. She's like holding her skirt in the other hand, the free hand, and she's just sort of traipsing along, knowing that she's going to feed and going to sleep in a bed that she might have spent the evening with a lover. And she sits, and once she's seated on the bed, reaches over and grabs the little notebook, the tiniest one, and holds it in her hand, and for a moment just seems to let the thought wash over her that Sylvester was there and now he no longer is. And she's ruminating on what that means to her. if it means anything to her. But what you would see if you were in the room is her just with this very gentle smirk, just sort of with this wine glass like curled to her chest, and she's holding and gently caressing this little leather book. And she gives it another moment of just gently caressing it, and then she throws it on the floor, just as if tossing it to the side, as Deimos walks in the room.
Deimos, before coming up, had like chugged the rest of the pint. Looks at Ches. Ches, I need you to meet me here in the morning, okay?
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you for everything today. Truly, I was quite impressed.
Not a problem. Anytime.
If you do start to feel sick or like you are growing a tree inside of you, try to find Azjah as fast as you can.
But you really think that can happen?
Have a good night. And I go like up the stairs. When I get to the room, Deimos takes off her necklace. Still hungry.
Olga takes the wine glass that's in her hand and sets it on the nightstand and just holds her arms out like this, like she just wants someone to come give her a big cuddle. And she like motions with her hands like this and invites Deimos over to her.
I get like right into your personal space. Use your words.
You're not going to make me do this.
One day I will.
That's correct. Tonight is not that night. I have seen too much and I endured too much and I deserve it, don't I?
Of course. Well, let's get you fed into bed.
And with that, Olga's arms just take Deimos into her, and she gives like a wide swoop of her neck and just cradles into Deimos. And just very gently, very affectionately feeds on Deimos' neck, just enough to satiate her. And given that Deimos has been drinking the ale that Olga likes, Olga has a little smile when she lets up, and she just has a little buzz about her, as if she's intoxicated, but not drunk, just very gleeful. And it's as if all of her problems just kind of lift away, and she feels so well served and so well cared for. And she, with one arm still wrapped around Deimos' neck, just leans back into the pillow and sort of just caresses the side of Deimos' face as she starts to sort of drift off to sleep.
You were doing nothing, Deimos. What have you been doing, Deimos? Deimos just says. Shez will meet us in the morning.
And Olga says nothing, but Deimos hears a loud, like,
Right. Deimos like locks the door to the room and other important safety things. Puts on the no housekeeping tag.
My sound dropped out. All I heard was putting the no housekeeping tag up.
Yeah, Deimos like locks the locks the door to the room and stuff.
Great. How does Ches spend the rest of the evening?
Ches, he finishes his ale, chats up with some of the other patrons. Some he knows and some he probably doesn't. And then, around closing time, just makes his way to his basement, like, studio apartment / closet, I guess. And passes out on he sleeps on like a mat on the floor, with like some blankets and a really shoddy pillow.
Gotta get this man a bed. First party goal is enough money to buy Ches a bed. Everyone else is sleeping in a bed. Ches, I sleep on the ground. Whoa, whoa.
I have sheets, okay?
And what about Azjah and Trix? Where do you head to after the school?
I think Azjah, having been shook, and Trix probably picking up on it. Probably not to its full extent, but enough. Azjah would make her way to her old haunting grounds, quite literally, where there was a mausoleum that she would often sleep in. And I think wordlessly there's an understanding between Trix and Azjah that hasn't really disintegrated despite all the time spent apart, in which this was something that they did frequently. And there's a soft comfort in that. And so as they get there, Azjah, would seem like the insane in the medical terminology person, as she's greeting all of these invisible forces, and I think this point, Trix, you would probably perceive that as imaginary friends still, or like maybe what they did say was actually true. So it's either for you going to be one of those moments like, wow, Azjah's actually clinically insane, or maybe what the sisters were saying and the matrons were saying have merit. Because it is, there's this gleeful joy in her voice as she's like greeting people, like she is greeting old friends.
Yeah, I actually think it's a mixture of both, of like, oh, like this was not a game as a kid. This is Azjah's, this is how she lives. And I feel like they've done this walk towards the mausoleum many times as a child, so it's almost like a back of their hand. They follow the path and they let Azjah do their thing, and they kind of they find a tree right next to like a half broken tombstone, and they kind of sit down on it. And this is a place that they've crashed before, as they hang out with Azjah as a child, and they're running their fingernails and their hands through these like dark black gnarled roots on this half eaten, half dead tree. And they look around for a moment and they just take it all in. The air in Kettlebrek is a little calmer now that they can see Azjah being Azjah for the first time, really, since they've that Dr. Azjah has been this plague doctor that they never knew. And to see this, it gives a sense of relief, like, okay, I don't know what the hell's going on, but at least things will be normal-ish.
I think for Trix, this moment may be very positively reminiscent for them, where for Azjah it's bittersweet, because this is where she felt the most comfortable and where she felt the most at ease and at home in a world as a child where she didn't fit. And so there is audible laughter. She's talking to these spirits, and there's a multitude of them just kind of like swarming her, and you can't see it. But there is a sense of almost love here. That warmth that she radiated earlier still burns, but it feels like a warmth that is reminiscent of a hug and less like the hellfire in which she almost succumbed to.
And as you are taking in this juxtaposition in emotion that you felt, enjoying the company of these once people who have been what you consider to be some of your only true friends, there's a moment where the hair on the back of your neck starts to rise as you think about the school. And the last sound you hear is the creak of the last step. That's where we're going to end tonight.
The heartstrings.
You know, until this school scene, I was like, yeah, this is good. And then the school scene happened, I was like, oh fuck, that's like this is a horror campaign.
Well, everyone, I'm so proud of all of y'all. Thank you again for joining me. Please give it up for our wonderful cast, y'all. Throw some claps in the chat. Yes, round of applause, everybody. Thank you all so much for joining us. We are ending a little bit early. That's okay. We got hard outs tonight, and we are respectful of that. So, that being said, we are going to do a very quick rundown, and we're going to GTFO. I'm Raven. Pronouns are they, she, any. I have played Dr. Azjah Navek. She, her, your, probably not all good at all Plague Doctor. Follow me on socials at Ravenous Tales everywhere. That's it. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jay. I have been your invading dungeon master. I play the rest of Kettlebrek. And yeah, you can find me everywhere on Swole Initiative, and streaming on the Swole Initiative Network on Twitch and YouTube, which I will eventually catch up on. My pronouns are he, him, and thank you for being awesome.
Hey y'all, my name is Danny. My pronouns are he, him, and tonight I have played Trix Bloodlust, your joyfully naive blood magic drow warlock. That's a sentence I just said. You can find me all over the internet at Brutal Dan. That's BR00TALDAN.
Oh, hello. Hi, it's me, Joy. I am Sensitive Joy on the internet. I played Olga Mars this evening. Her pronouns are she, her. My pronouns, she, her, any. You can't really mess it up. You can find me on the internet at Sensitive Joy. And yeah, you will see me live on the Ravenous Tales channel, both on Monday and Tuesday next week. So keep your eyes open for the Monday announcement.
Hey, what's up? My name is Austin. My pronouns are he, they, she. I just been playing Deimos, whose pronouns are she, they. You can find me, Austin, in the real world on the internet at Sailor at Sailor SCT Austin. Diction.
I'm Diction, he, him. I was playing Chez, also he, him. And yeah, you can find me at twitch.tv/Diction. And I play a lot of different games and stuff. Kind of a goofball.
All right, y'all. And that is it. We love you. Make sure to take care of yourselves. And we will see you next week on Tuesday. So be here. Don't miss it. Bye.